So I'm going to replace this faucet that I don't like, but I'm also going to do an epoxy coating on the sink basin. So I've already cleaned the sink and I've sanded the surface, kind of doing two things at once. But so now I'm under the sink and I am disconnecting the current sink water hookup. So that I can epoxy the 3 holes. So I'm not sure if you can see all this very well. All right, so now we're up top. Let's see if I can just kind of pull this right out. It's all kinds of dirty, as we might have expected. Cool. So there's our nasty old kitchen sink. This is just a fake installation because I still have to epoxy the sink. But I wanted to show friends and lovers what it would look like. Okay, so kind of what it would look like. So the rubber gasket went on first, then the metal, and then the 2 fasteners to tighten it down. And you'll need a wrench to tighten that all the way, but I don't want it tightened all the way right now. Sweet. So, yeah, that should be nice once we get the epoxy done in here. All right, so I'm about ready to start my epoxy counter project here. I've already got existing counters. This is epoxy. If I'm not mistaken, I've got 2, possibly 3 layers already down there. So I've got a new faucet, and the faucet's kind of a black, silver, anyway, but it'll look better with, I think I'm going to go ultimately with a darker gray / black to redo these counters. And this time I'm also going to do epoxy into the sink. So anyway, it'll kind of have a uniformed monolithic look to it. So anyway, prep that I've already done. I've sanded the counters that are already here, once with 150 grit and then again with 220 grit sandpaper. I did the same in the sink. I even went a little rougher in the sink. I've removed the faucet. I've dammed up the plug to try to facilitate. I don't want any epoxy getting into my garbage disposal, so I've got double plugs in there. Ultimately, the epoxy is going to pool down here, and hopefully, using my Dremel, I can free this plug and kind of chamfer the edges of the diameter there. I just recently wiped all the counters and sink down with a trisodium phosphate solution and water, just to give it a final coating, to make sure that there's no grease or any kind of residues there. I've taped off the areas on the counter that I don't want epoxy on. The goal here is to let the epoxy be sort of level with the perimeter rim that I have in tile. If for any reason I'm not happy with the results this time around, I will do one more coat, and with that final coat I'll paint over this top surface of tile, and we'll do the edge of the tile here. So I've got one last shot, but I've never done a vertical surface like this before, and so if I can avoid it, I'm going to try to. What else? I think we're pretty ready to go. I've got my supplies laid out. I've got, what is it? A quart ready to go. I think I'll need a little bit more than that just to do the counters. So I think I'm going to mix up 20. So each of these is 16 ounce. I think I'm going to go with 20 ounces of each. So I'll open up both boxes, pour those in. I think I'm going to mix them. And then what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do the bulk of the material, the bulk of the resin in here. And I'll do black colorant in there. And then I'm going to do some smaller cups with accents in gold, rose gold, and a little bit of orange and copper. And then I'm just going to kind of use those minimally to try to give it some accents. So we'll see how that goes. I've got my drill with the mixing attachment, so I'll mix that up for, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes, no more than 5. I'll scrape the edges to make sure that any residue that's on the sides is still getting mixed in properly. I'll probably set a timer at that point. Use the oven timer, I guess. And then I'm gonna start pouring. Probably pour. I'll use a squeegee or a scraper to even the coat all the way around. And then when I'm satisfied that that's leveling, I'll start to let the epoxy go into the sink area. If I can, I'd really prefer that the resin starts to solidify a little. I'm hoping that I'm not going to have to battle too much the runoff into the drain area. I don't want that to get too heavy or too thick. So I'm gonna fight that. I'm gonna brush it back up as much as I can. I'm gonna be fighting gravity. And then after that, I will use my blowtorch, and I'll probably just go over it several times to get the bubbles out. I'll try to see if the heat gun works. I've got experience using the torch, so that's probably the preferred way that I'm gonna go, but I now have a heat gun, so maybe I'll give that a try too. All right. Alright, so didn't turn out perfect, but it'll turn out pretty good. I mean, the end result's a little darker than it was, which is kind of what we wanted. I don't know how well you can see my patterns, but patterns are pretty cool. I don't know. Can't really get rid of the glare. But basically, I mean, I used a gold color, copper, orange, and black. Anyway, I don't see too many surface imperfections, but you know, tomorrow when I wake up, we'll take a closer look when it's hard. All right, so I've left out a couple steps. Sorry about that, but I got tired of wearing my camera on my head. So finished product, I ended up creating a matte finish for these counters by sanding it and increasing fineness. So I started, I think, 400 grit, and then I went to 800. And I think I stopped at 2000 grit. But that gave us a nice matte finish for these counters. It almost looks like petrified wood. It's kind of pretty cool. Happy with that. Now, you can see the difference though. I left the sink glossy. Didn't sand it at all. Sorry, there's some food in here. Coffee grounds. But anyway. And then ultimately, to deal with adding the chamfer here, I had to buy a couple of abrasive discs to use in my drill. I think a 3-inch and a 4-inch diameter, a ball. And you put the drill in here and spun that to give you a nice drain. So worked pretty well. Overall, pretty happy, pretty satisfied with the end result. I think it looks great. And of course, so that's the faucet I installed as well. So anyway, thanks for watching. Sorry that was a little bit long, but hopefully it was detailed in ways that were helpful.